What's up, everyone? It's your boy Richard Graves. I'm bringing my boy Jonathan on today. We're going to have a conversation. There's been a lot of stuff that's been going on. Me and Jonathan haven't really been able to talk. Now, this is my first live one in a while, so it's going to be fun. We're going to get Jonathan on. We're going to talk about a lot of the issues we were talking about on Facebook and Twitter. And without further delay, here's my boy Jonathan. What's up, Jonathan?
Hey.
Good to see you, man. How's it going up in Michigan, one of the swing states that is up for debate?
Let me tell you about Michigan. And I'm coming out the gate firing. I'm coming out firing guns. I had my problem with Michiganders. You want to go for Kamala, because I do want to be respectful. I'm not ignorant. For Kamala is because she's a black woman and she's Democratic. Stop the bullshit. That's why you voted for her, and that's why you want to vote for her. But we had a gentleman by the name of Hill Harper. I don't know if you heard of Hill Harper right here.
Yeah, I've heard it.
For the Democratic primary against another white woman, right? You niggas in Detroit sat on your black asses and did not get out and vote for this black man in the primary to be on the Senate. You're fugazi, you're fake. You're not interested in getting real black people in there. You just want people who they put in front of your face because you didn't get out to vote. He did a campaign for a year. He was at everything black in the city of Detroit. In Michigan, I don't know if you know, Rich, all Detroit has to do is vote, and we win every vote, whatever Detroit does, because that's how big the electorate is of people who can vote. But you niggas in Detroit did not get out and vote for another black man to possibly run for a Senate seat for the United States Senate. You didn't do it.
This is Hill Harper, the actor Hill Harper?
Yes.
I did not know that he ran up there.
He was running in Detroit for a Senate seat.
Why didn't they
Because niggas is fake. Because niggas really don't vote. And niggas really don't care unless somebody puts somebody in front of your face like Kamala.
Okay, well, hold on.
All you niggas is fake.
Two
you
things.
Fake black, you fake woke. You're not really for black people in empowerment and black people in government because you want to go for Kamala. You missed the opportunity to get a black man, Hill Harper, from Detroit, in for a Senate seat. All you niggas, all of you, is fake. That's what I got to say about that. Y'all can kiss my ass. You're fake.
Well, I want to say a couple
black
things.
Support niggas.
I want to say a couple things. First of all, everyone. First of all,
piss me off, Rich. Piss me off.
Well,
get your ass out and vote if you for black people being in government, and you niggas sat on your asses in Detroit. You fake.
Well, let me
you
get
deserve a Donald Trump to get in and bust y'all's asses, and then you get it right.
All right.
I hope you get in and bust y'all's ass.
Well, let me say a couple things, man. First of all,
I'm passionate about this, Rich.
Right. First of all, I feel you, and I just want to let everybody know we got people on that's watching and commenting, and I got some chats, and I just want to say, first of all, I don't restrict free speech on my platform. Jonathan is passionate. Jonathan speaks the way that he speaks. Jonathan has his approach. I have my approach. Any of you guys are all welcome to come on. I know that Jonathan isn't meaning anything offensive by using the N-word. I try not to because I don't want to be in the habit of using it. I ain't gonna say I've never used it. I have.
I use it religiously.
Well,
it's a noun, person, place, or thing.
All right. That being said, the politics of it. Detroit and Detroit's relationship to Michigan is very similar to Chicago's relationship with Illinois. Those cities carry the state in many ways, so those votes matter. Now, the question is, and I want to talk about Hill Harper later because I did not know that he was running, but we'll have to talk about that. But back to Kamala. All right, is it Kamala? Right? I don't want to be Kamala. All right, Kamala. I want to be correct because I don't want people to think I'm trying to disrespect the sister. Here's my thing.
We'll talk about whether she's a sister or not, too.
Well,
because here's my thing. Evidence to prove that right now.
Well, here's my thing with Vice President Harris, man. I honestly am not really concerned about all these peripheral conversations. And what I mean by that,
we'll get into that. Yeah, I'll tell you why you should be.
But I'll tell you why you should be. I'm not concerned about it in regard to, I need to know, I don't care. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't care what color someone is. I don't care what fraternity or sorority one is in. I don't care which branch of service they served in or didn't serve in. What I need to know is bread and butter issues. I need to know what you plan to do for working class people, for black people, for American people. That's what I need to know. I don't need to know, and I don't need to know. I don't need to know if you cook grains. I don't need to know if you use hot sauce. I don't need to know any of all that. What I need to know is for you to tell me.
That's
Right.
what that
Well,
is.
I think that goes across the board. I mean, I think that people do it to all demographics. But my thing is this: I'm not going to be bullied into voting for anyone because of we share a skin tone. That'd be like saying I have to vote for whoever because they're a man, or vote for someone because they happen to be from the Midwest, or vote for someone because they happen to be a Marine, or that to me is ignorance. I'm voting for who is going to bring the best policy, who has the best policy plan for us, because that's what's important. And Kamala Harris, or Vice President Harris, so I don't screw up her first name, she's been in office 3.5 years. And I have to admit, I voted for the Biden-Harris ticket. I hear her talking crazy about Trump and the border. I hear her talking crazy about Trump and other situations. I guess Trump supposedly torpedoed the vote about the border. But I'm like, you had 3.5 years. That's one vote you're talking about. And that is in the third quarter. First, second quarter, y'all didn't do anything. We're in the fourth quarter now. And I'm saying that I think it's disingenuous for Vice President Harris to blame Donald Trump for playing politics when she had going in the door anything they could have done. And the only thing they seem to do is allow the border to become a serious situation with migrants flooding over in cities like Chicago, Detroit, New York, Baltimore, Philly, Denver, going to large cities. And this has been a problem in the African American community in many of these cities. I've talked to people in these cities that are not happy with the fact that migrants have been brought to these cities. And it's not that someone's hating or not caring about situations that people find themselves in to make them want to come to this country. But you got people who've come to this country illegally, all right? And now resources are being directed at them, while in these inner city African-American communities in Baltimore and Chicago.
But Rich, speak
what's going on
about what's going on in Chicago, bro.
No, I see what
you're trying to give them Social Security, bro. Rich, they trying to get these motherfuckers Social Security. They lost their goddamn minds?
Let me take again. Now you're making me look that one up because I didn't know we were going there.
Rich, go ahead and look the shit up, Rich. They're trying to get Social Security. Are you kidding me?
All right, so let's see what we got going on in the news for that. Immigration, government benefits for immigrants. Immigrants who are not U.S. citizens may be eligible for Social Security benefits if they fall or held under one.
Ain't that a bitch?
I'm not going to even talk about it because
I'm going to talk about it for you. That's some bullshit. That your Democratic governments of all these black cities are fucking trying to push over. My mama has worked for 37 years, got retired, paying in Social Security 37 years, and you don't give her shit to these niggas? Man, fuck them. That's bullshit, and every black person ought to be on that as some bullshit. And if you ain't black, you ain't on some bullshit, you full of shit. Ain't no way in fucking world we pay a tax to Social Security for us to retire, and you gonna give it to them who ain't paid shit? Man, fuck you. That is our goddamn right. It's not a fucking privilege. It's a fucking entitlement because we paid into the insurance. Okay? And you gonna give it to somebody who hasn't paid into it? Man, get the fuck out of here if you voting for that bullshit. They have lost their goddamn minds. Social Security? Man, come on, Rich. Come on.
Here's the thing, bro.
There is no iteration of reasonable citizenry with
let me contextualize this.
Context. You not
no, because again,
I don't give a good goddamn if they blind, crippled, or crazy.
No,
that is not for them.
Here's the thing, Jonathan. I of course am not for that. I have a significant problem with how immigration has been handled. I have a problem with the geopolitical policy that has not been handled.
Democratic policy.
Well, no. Well, let me be clear. and I'm going to say this, I don't blame the Democrats or the Republicans singly. I blame them both. And if we look at foreign policy, if we go back to, well, actually, we have to go back to Nixon and Reagan. All right. And that includes everybody from the Democrat and Republican. That includes Clinton and Obama and Jimmy Carter. That includes everybody. When we look at these countries,
Except
like,
Trump, we wasn't
yeah,
having that.
yeah, no, when we look at I understand what you're saying. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying that we have a broken system that needs to be fixed. I'm not with the illegal migration being just buck wild and the borders being particularly wide open. Not with that at all. What I'm saying though is there's reason people are fleeing those countries. We have to
I
look
don't
at
give
what
a good goddamn whether they. I don't care. I don't care. Fuck them.
Jonathan, when we're talking about countries in our hemisphere over here, and we're talking about things that we're doing policy-wise that are causing situations, we have to look at if we are doing anything at all that's causing it, we have to deal with that.
No, we ain't got to do shit.
So you're saying that we shouldn't take responsibilities for the choices that we are making in other countries? How do we not take responsibility?
If it's at the expense of Americans who are here, no, fuck them. No, and I mean that sincerely.
No, I'm not talking about. Let's back this up. I'm not talking about when people already done got to our gates, got across the border, and we're dealing with that in a law enforcement issue, a public safety issue, a public health issue. That's one thing. But I'm saying though, there is a cause though. It's like within a tree. When we get to the root of the problem, if people are leaving countries like Venezuela, socialistic countries, all right, what have we done to either A, exacerbate that situation, or B, try to mitigate the situation is all I'm saying.
That becomes a ridiculous argument because we do that to all over the world. So we're just going to take everybody from every time?
No, I'm not saying we're supposed to take anybody. I'm saying that if we don't address the problem, it causes us a bigger problem one way or the other. And I'm just saying, an ounce of prevention is worth more than a pound of cure. There are issues that are going on in countries because of our it's because of our multinational corporations and the policies we're allowing them to get away with have an effect on us, bro. And that's anywhere in the world. So we have to think about that. If we're going to be the face of democracy and doing the right thing in the American way, being the right thing, then we need to export that.
That's an emotional thing.
That's not emotional. That's what we're supposed to be about.
I truly don't give a fuck because we have issues here with Americans here where that money and that policy and that effort can go to people here.
But see, that's different. I'm not saying that we're supposed to be. I'm not saying we're supposed to be. I'm not saying we're supposed to be. I'm not saying we're supposed to be giving money away to countries. What I'm saying, Jonathan.
No, I'm talking about for their immigration problem.
No,
Mexico is unloading their fucking prisons and their fucking mental institutions. And
here's my thing, bro. Here's my thing. I'm not saying we're supposed to have an open border. Again, I'm very clear. That's a no-go. But I'm saying is in countries that are unstable in our side of the world, all right, that our businesses and that are involved in, our multinational corporations are involved in, for materials that we receive and benefit from as Americans, we have to start looking at what is actually happening so we can demand better geopolitical policy. Any country is going to have policy. We have internal policy. We have geopolitical policy. I'm saying that we should be, again, these are policy questions. What are we doing? What do we want? And what are we willing to trade for those things? We have to have a real talk about that. We just can't say, because we live in an interconnected world. There's no way. We have to understand what's going on geopolitically. That's something we can't ignore because it does have effects on us. And if we don't want negative effects, we got to start looking at what we're doing is all I'm saying.
Yeah, we can look at what we're doing and they can stay their ass where the hell they at. That's what we can do. And I don't give a damn about what businesses we have over Mexico. Okay, bring them factories back over here then. And you
that's another thing to talk about. And I agree with you. If we're talking about the fact that we have businesses that are exploiting labor elsewhere as opposed to building in the United States, that needs to be discussed. All right. And let's just be real about the migrant issue. The reason why neither the left or the right really has done anything is because people want that labor. That labor is being exploited. So it's a question of Americans need to be willing to pay the true cost to do business, whatever that is. The true cost of labor, the true cost of labor if we outsource it overseas or to other countries, the true cost. We got to look at cost. What are we actually paying for things and what are we willing to pay for things? That's all I'm saying. But you and I both agree that there shouldn't be an open border. You and I both agree that at the end of the day that there needs to be things done to, if we're going to have any type of immigration, it needs to be done the right way. You know, there are people that I talked to a gentleman that had went to MIT, and he's from India, trying to get to the United States. MIT grad, real smart dude, working for an American corporation. Can't get into the United States because he's waiting for some lottery. There's only so many people that can get in.
And see, that's what I don't understand.
Meanwhile, we have thousands of people flooding the border, and we can't get immigrants who want to come that can bring something to the country. That, you know, MIT grad can't get in the country, but we got people running across the border. I agree with you. It is a problem.
That is no. Listen, Rick, listen. Let me tell you. Listen to all you African Americans. That is a Democratic policy. And that's the shit they wanted and the shit they allowed, because Trump was not having that shit. Under no circumstances was he having that bullshit. And when you
so we're talking about
when you vote for Rich, call them out what the fuck they were. That was a Biden, Kamala Harris policy, and that's what the Democrats want, because they want to place you niggas in your vote because they know your asses don't vote. So they got a crop of new niggas that they want to come over here. That's the real issue and what's really going on. Okay? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That is a Democratic policy. Chicagoans and Detroitans, that is a Democratic policy to replace y'all's asses. Okay?
Well, let's be real. I will agree with you on that. The way I perceive it is you have an exodus coming from cities like Chicago and Detroit. I believe somewhere between about 100 to 200,000 African Americans have left the city of Chicago over the last 4 years. All right. So the population is getting smaller. All right. And like I told you before, the only reason, and let me let black people know some real math. The only reason why the Democrats care about the black vote is because in certain states, the black vote can be pushed in order to, you know, basically turn the state blue. All right. So, and then we're not getting anything for what we're giving the Democratic Party. If you know, those of us who continually vote Democrat, what are we getting? You know, we look at cities like Chicago, we look at cities like Detroit, we look at cities like Baltimore, and that's my point. You know, my point is, I'm not. You know, we're trying to be shamed into voting for Kamala Harris, who has had 3.5 years to show us some policy, and I don't see anything that has happened in those 3.5 years has been potentially beneficial to the African American community. And that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, her policy is rising tide raises all boats. That same bullshit Barack Obama peddled to us, where he can't do nothing specific to black people, but he did things specifically for other specific groups. She's on that same bullshit train. So don't give me this Kamala's gonna do something for, she ain't gonna do shit. Okay, nothing specifically for black folks. What you can do for black folks is your president, Kamala, is you can repeal some of them bullshit ass criminal justice laws he invented back in '92 that you niggas forgave and voted for him on. How about you roll back some of that shit?
That's what you're talking about with Joe Biden.
Well, man, look, personally affected us.
Well, here's my thing. Here's my thing about laws, man. When it comes to criminal justice reform, I'm for criminal justice reform, but I'm not for stupidity. Because, and what I mean by stupidity, you know, everybody jumped on, like I said, everybody jumps on Joe Biden and Clinton.
And he should, and we should, Rick, stop.
Hear me out. Hear me out, bro.
Stop that bullshit.
Let me finish what I'm saying.
You better be good, Rich.
You realize New York, Chicago, Los Angeles at that time, drive-bys was up, people was getting jacked, home invasions was up, all right? Juveniles were able to get sentences where pretty much if they did something, sort of like how we changed it to recently, what it is, juveniles were getting off with stuff, so the little shorties getting put up to do a lot of stuff. In areas of being affected were black areas, bro. And the Black Congressional Caucus is the one that pushed the issue, saying, hey, we need something done. Now, when they came out, hear me out, with the 3 strikes law, don't get me wrong, I know some people got swept up in that. But what I'm saying is the issue is, again, first of all, any law that we look for needs to be evenly applied, not unevenly applied, because that is a problem as far as evenly applying the law to whatever demographic. But my point, bro, is we talk all this about, these criminals, about, oh, Joe Biden. No, 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 no. What the real issue is, crime in the hood. A minority of brothers in the hood is holding the hood hostage. And we believe that black policy to us, that's why that's all the thing the Democrats talked to us about, is criminal justice reform, prison reform. Meanwhile, the hoods is going off the hook again because we're having a similar situation like we had in the early 90s. So I'm not trying to hear nothing about, Joe Biden. I don't care about none of that. What I care
I
about is,
fucking do.
well,
Fuck
no,
him.
hear me out. If I want crime in the hood to go down, all right, and criminal justice reform is not going to make crime in the hood go down.
No. You're
I
arguing.
need to hear. I need to hear me out, bro.
That's a different subject.
All right, unless Joe Biden was in the drive-by shootings with the homies. All right, I'm not hearing that he's responsible for the choices these brothers made.
That's a different subject.
I'm not hearing that, cuz. I'm not hearing that.
You moving to go first. If your white counterpart is doing the same thing, how come we ain't sentenced to the same thing? That's what I'm talking about.
Is our white counterparts having drive-by shootings, having these serious? And let's be real. It's not out of race. You're talking about major metropolitan areas, completely dense. All right. The population density in a city like Los Angeles or Chicago or Baltimore or Detroit is very different than what you're gonna find. You got if you're dealing in one of them podunk counties, all right, you might have a couple of meth dealers, but they're not dealing with nowhere near the amount of law enforcement, nor are they packed on top of each other like you do in New York and Chicago. Black people's packed on top of each other in these neighborhoods, so it causes higher numbers. And all I'm saying is this: I would like for crime to go down. I'm all for criminal justice reform, but I'm for common sense reforms. I'm for trying to keep people from going back to prison and going to prison in the first place. And that requires some policy other than criminal justice reform. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to get caught up and get stuck on that argument. To me, it's a distraction because an ounce of prevention, again, is worth more than a pound of cure. What is the issues causing Black people in affected communities to disproportionately go to prison? What's happening in these neighborhoods? How can we change that?
One reason only. No fathers in the home.
Okay,
so,
now here we go back to that.
Conversation.
Right. So if we're talking about
it has to do with some democratic policies in the 70s when we got married to the system. Hello, Lyndon B. Johnson and his policy of welfare. That's another democratic policy.
Oh, I agree with you on that. We've had this discussion before, but I'm saying we can outline the causes. What are we going to do now? That's what I'm saying. So I don't care if Kamala is a Democrat or Republican. I don't care if Trump is a Democrat or Republican. What are we going to do? Are we actually going to have that tough conversation about the society, about the community? Are we going to have those tough conversations? Or are we going to incentivize people being married? Are we going to talk about that? Or are we going to sit here and ignore it? And I'm just saying, I haven't heard Kamala Harris say anything about that. All right. When she does, I'm waiting to hear for it. All right. I've heard people on the Republican side talk about it, but then they get shut down because people say that's called respectability politics, which I think is bullshit there. But what I'm saying is, when are we going to have these real conversations? I haven't heard anybody talking about this. And as far as policy directly toward the Black community, if you give me policy geared towards working class people, all right, it's going to disproportionately affect Black people positively. If you give me positive policy geared towards Black people, geared towards poverty, Black people are higher represented in poverty roles than anybody else, percentage-wise. So if you give me some policy that's dealing with getting people to work, getting daycare for women, single mothers, getting people in school, getting them trained in the trades, getting them jobs, giving some financial literacy training.
All that what you're saying is right and it's good. But here's the thing. We have the element tied to the tree syndrome. You ever heard of that analogy about the element tied to the tree? Yeah, so for all of you that don't know, you tie an elephant to the tree, and it can only walk a certain perimeter. When you take off the tie to the tree, he will still stay in that perimeter because he's programmed to, even though he's free to go further. I think we suffer from a little of that because the opportunities are there. All you have to do is fucking Google the shit. Okay, you can go to get your college tuition here in Michigan paid for free. Did you know that, Rich?
Yeah, I've heard of a few free programs. I
You
was
can go
talking.
to U of M and get on an income-based tuition program. The University of motherfucking Michigan. Did you hear what I said? I'm gonna say it louder for the people in the fucking back. You can go get your college tuition paid for free. We're not tied to that tree anymore, people. I'm not saying we still don't have struggle. I'm not saying we don't still deal with some levels of systematic racism. But by far, if you want to go and get it, you can fucking go and get it, people. Nobody is holding you back anymore from that standpoint. And I'm not saying you may not encounter some racist things in corporate America, because you probably will. But if you want to go and get it, you can go and get it. The problem is niggas is fucking lazy. Yeah, I said it. I don't care if you don't like it. Niggas in the hood are inured, hopelessly inured to this hip hop culture, which is destroying the black partly part of the reason, not all, of destroying the black nucleus and families. This mentality, you keep hearing certain lyrics and things over and over again about guns, sex, drugs, and money. And so when I hear a young person say they want to be a rapper, I cringe. We don't need another motherfucking rapper. We need tradesmen. The way the middle class, the black middle class came up rich wasn't through going to college. It was through skilled trades. Go
Well,
look
I
at
don't.
your history. It
Yeah,
was through
I don't think.
trades.
And here's my thing, though. I don't think that's even a conversation. And what I
It
mean
has
by
to be a conversation.
hear me out. Conversation between college and trades. It comes down to what you actually are going to do. Some people do need college degrees. When we need our lawyers and doctors
Of
and
course, of
dentists,
course.
teachers, right? And some people don't. What we have to do is stop shaming people who don't have a degree. I think that
Exactly.
became in vogue. I don't. I think that here's what I think. I think that people should be able to get their education, and whatever that secondary education is. All right, if that education comes down, that postgraduate education, post high school graduation, I mean, if you are going to be a plumber, be a plumber, a architect, a mechanic, a heat and air conditioning person, whatever it is, do what you want to do and just do it and be able to get the certifications or the degree to do it. I don't think it's a matter of saying that a college degree isn't important. It's just not important if you don't need it. It depends on what you need,
No, but
you
the
know,
point,
and
the
that's my
point, the
thing.
point that I was making about that is we had a period of 20 years where we were pushing kids to college, go to college, go to college, go to college. It was a big push. It was, and then you have the
Well, that
predatory
was also
movement.
because of the financial services industry and the student loan game.
But that's
Because
my point. My point.
yeah,
We were pushing them to that, and we should not have been.
right.
We just really should not have been.
Well, I think that a lot of people, unfortunately, worked in blue collar jobs prior to that, worked in factories, and they wanted what they felt would be better for their children. And they thought that that would be getting a college degree and getting a white collar job. And honestly, it all depends on what I always tell people: get the education that fits what you're trying to do. We have to get kids. What I personally support is I think that every college or every high school graduate should serve 2 years public service and then go to college, and it's paid for, college or trade school, whatever they do. I think they should spend 2 years in the United States military, 2 years in the Peace Corps, or 2 years in AmeriCorps building our own communities in this country. Those should be the three choices that you have. And if you choose not to do that, then you're on your own. You pay for whatever you're going to pay for yourself. But if you choose one of those three options, it should be paid for. And actually, all three of those options do have ways to pay for your college. So I'm saying that needs to be pushed. I think AmeriCorps needs to be reformed to be something that actually deals with building communities, rebuilding schools, rebuilding bridges, roads, infrastructure for our nation. I think AmeriCorps should be focused on that, serving the community in some form. And people who don't want to do the military option or who don't want to go overseas with the Peace Corps, you can do that here. And that's for 2 years. That gives that kid an opportunity to think about, what do I really want to be doing with my life? What education do I really want to pursue? Do I want to be a beautician? Do I want to be a barber? Do I want to work at a heating and air conditioning? Do I want to be a diesel mechanic, aircraft mechanic? Or do I want to be a lawyer or a social worker or a librarian or whatever? That 2 years of service, I think, should be necessary. I think that'd do good for our country in a lot of ways, a unifying factor. And also, I believe it gives a person, young people spend the first 2 years of school wasting money, all right, on elective courses, changing their majors about 2 or 3 times. and figuring out all of a sudden at the end of 2 years, I don't want to be in college. I want to be a mechanic, or that they have to take even more classes because they've changed their major to what they actually want to do at that time.
Right.
And my thing is this: that 2 year period of time of public service. Like I said, if they give us 2 years of public service, I believe we can give people free education for that. I have no problem doing that. That's what I am for, But every time I bring this up, when people, I don't want to be in the military. Okay, well then serve AmeriCorps. There are people that truly want a handout because they don't want to do that too. And I'm saying, hey, if you don't want to do the 2 years of AmeriCorps, the 2 years of Peace Corps, the 2 years of the military, if you choose not to, that's fine. We're not going to force you. But then you have now said that I'm going to pay my own way regardless of what I decide to do. And I think that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of digress. We kind of get off the subject.
Okay.
So the reason we have the crime levels is mainly it goes back to not having fathers in the home, not a father who loves and still father his kid while they live somewhere else. A father in the house. It's not the same. It doesn't hold the same weight and the same effect on that child if the father is not living in the house with the child. So that's why we got the main issues. And what I'm seeing is the Democratic Party is not pushing that. They like, fuck the nuclear family. The family can be whatever the fuck it wants to be. And I'm not with that. And that's part of the problem. And the LGBT community has latched on to the blackness and the black plight as if they're one and the same, and they are fucking not. And we fell for that bullshit.
Well, I'm going to say this, Jonathan. All right. I do agree with you that it's just, and not only is the problem a father in the home, all right, because sometimes that's not possible for whatever reason. All right. Now, the numbers we got of single parent homes right now are ridiculous. And it's not because of deaths or of divorces that make sense. It's
Right.
because people are having babies out of wedlock. People are putting the cart before the horse. I hear young ladies already one kid by a dude they're not married to talking about, well, he won't have to marry me if I have another one. It's like we shouldn't be having these conversations. My thing is this: it's not just the fathers in the home; it's the community itself as well.
But that's because there's no fathers in the home.
I agree with you. I think that it's a serpent. I think it's a serpent eating its tail situation. I think ultimately it comes down to black men taking responsibilities for our neighborhoods, taking responsibility for first our own children, and secondly for our community. And I believe that black men are being, demasculated or emasculated. I don't know what the term is. So you got to correct me. I'm not a grammar dude, but I believe that black men, because of the music, is affecting it because of we just got some weird cultural things going on that need to be addressed. All right.
Yeah, we got cultural things going on that no other culture has going on.
No, we have a specific issue going on because of a few, and you got to be clear, Jonathan, when you say that. The shit's not genetic because we're black. All right. So we have to, because people will take that and run with it and say that it's not a genetic deficiency. It's a cultural issue that we need to address. And it's a culture that is, my opinion, is being forwarded by people with an agenda and it's being nurtured by people with an agenda. And this is one of my biggest problems with progressives. When we talk about the issues you and I are talking about, we are going to be accused of respectability politics, and we're going to be accused of bashing poor people and bashing single mothers. And that is not what we're doing. What we're doing is having a conversation about what our communities look like and what we need to do in order to be better. And I
spoke specifically about black men being in homes. I didn't say nothing about women. I said black men being in homes. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's the onus on men. Okay, I'll put the onus on men on that. Really, as supposed being the leaders, I put the onus on the men first. Not saying the women are absolved of responsibility, but
absolutely not. Yeah, they have their responsibility, but I think this comes back to what feminism. I have a significant problem with the progressive version of feminism, because I believe that it encourages women to not have meaningful relationships with men. All right. To not have, unfortunately, I think the sisters in specific demographics fall for the whole white female progressive feminism, if you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. All right. But I know you got a lot to say, but like you about to. I'm
I'm
trying to
just
say.
listen, man. The progressive feminism movement was not for black people.
No,
Not
it
with the
wasn't.
LGBTQ. It's not for you. Wasn't intended for you. So stop
But
latching on to that movement.
and I don't have any. I mean, here's my problem with the LGBTQ movement. Obviously, I believe you and I agree we're for equal rights of all citizens, regardless of their sexual orientation and sexual gender or whatever. If you're an American citizen, I want you to have equal rights like we have equal rights. My problem, and you brought up the Olympics, my problem is this.
Yeah.
Why does that equal right mean that you can have a blue man sitting on a platter with his balls hanging out for the Olympics, something that families are sitting around watching?
Right.
Why is it that these are things I wouldn't allow for a heterosexual situation? I don't want heterosexuals going around children with their balls and ass hanging out, all right, promoting sexuality, even if it's heterosexual sexuality.
Right.
So there's a difference between people having a right to be who they wish to be and marry who they want to marry. That's their business. I'm not going to force mine on you. You don't force yours on me. But what I do have a significant problem with is why is it always, we want to have drag queens reading stories to children. How is that about equal rights? You know, Sexualizing children and keeping parents out of the conversation. 8-year-old children, 9-year-old children coming home saying that, going to school saying that they feel like a girl, all right, changing their name, wanting to be called no name, the parents not even notified.
Yeah.
You know, that is that type of stuff. It's like, so that's allowing the schools to teach sexuality and what it means to a child as opposed to the parent. And I think that takes way too much control from the parent. And I believe that is a form of social engineering and indoctrination. And I think that's when things go too far. To me, it's not even about LGBTQ stuff anymore. It's just about hedonism and, sexuality and promoting that to children. And I just don't believe that that is proper or appropriate.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. Like going to the Olympics, you and I put up a post about, what it was really about. It was over sexualized. It was about a Greek feast, but at the same time, it was a jab on Christianity. It
Yeah.
was. And anytime we see anything that is a jab on religion, it always has to do with Christianity. I know the reason why, but I don't want to opinion about it. The reason why, because it's truth. And the devil wants to come against the truth. You don't do no. I triple double dog dare you to do something about Islam.
No, they won't do that. No, they won't do that.
They're not playing that.
They know something else gonna happen.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, I am not for violence against people unless it's necessary. But I'm not against violence for people expressing their opinions about my religion or any other religion. All right. Now you're gonna hear my mouth about it, but I'm not gonna come chop your head off for it. I'm not. Most Christians aren't. That's why Christians are normally the target, because we're not going to respond that way. We might protest, boycott, but we're not about to behead you. Some people will in other religions, and that's why they don't get the grief they get. But I also think there's a problem in American society when it comes to the fact that American society is becoming more and more anti-Christ. And I don't care if we're talking about Democrats or Republicans. It's a very consistent thing I've seen.
I'm not going to acquiesce to the Republican side. Sorry.
I am.
I'm not going to at all.
Let me explain something to you, my brother.
You're going to have to explain it real good, Rich.
The world is the world, my friend. The world systems are the world systems. And even though the Republicans give lip service to Christians, that's why I call myself a conservative, not necessarily a Republican. All right. And what I mean by a conservative is I'm for conservative principles. All right. Like Malcolm X was,
Yes.
and at the end of the day, my thing is world systems are world systems. The system of government is a world system. And if we're going biblically, there is no good guys in that system.
You're correct.
All right. So I'm saying that I don't believe anybody is operating outside of an anti-Christ position on that level of government. Now, on your local level, yeah, you got people that are seriously Christians that are running for office. But when it comes to the federal government or the world governments, like I said, the Bible says the system is demonic. The system of the earth is antichrist. This the world. All right. We are as Christians supposed to be well, we live in the world, but we're not of the world. The world. And there are no distinctions made between Democrat and Republican or black or white or male or female in that conversation. You understand what I'm saying? Unless you've been reading a different Bible than me, or you got some verses you can hit me up on that one.
No.
Right. So that's why, now don't get me wrong. I believe that the Republicans do give lip service to Christians a lot of times, but, it is what it is. I'm not going to, sit here. My only point is saying that I don't believe any system of this world, all right, any political system is of God. All right. So you might
Amen.
disagree.
No, I
Yeah.
know I don't disagree. That's
Yeah.
my prevailing argument when I deal with people. I mean, I get into some of the specifics and I do get passionate, but when we deal about world systems, you're absolutely right. They're antichrist to begin with, and
Yeah,
if
and it's
Christians
sort
the
it's
only
sort of like
religion.
when I talk to my Democrat friends who want to talk crazy about, that they are, that there's systemic and institutional racism in all systems being political system, institutions being okay. They'll point it out, and this is the only thing that gets on my nerves. They will point it out about the Republican Party on the right. They'll say,
Mhm.
"Look at all this racism," but they refuse. If you believe that racism is systemic, institutional, and one of those systems is a political system, then the other institutions would be the Democratic Party. How do they
Right.
not? Well, why do they believe that the Democratic Party is excused?
Because
That
niggas are
gets on my nerves.
brainwashed. That's why. That's
Yeah,
it. I said it. You're brainwashed.
and my thing is, I'm not telling anybody to vote Democrat or Republican. I'm saying get meat on your plate. If you're not getting your meat on your plate, what is you doing?
Yeah, but we ain't getting meat on our plate for the past 40, 50 years. What did Lyndon Baines Johnson say about getting black people to vote
Oh,
Democrat?
by the way, yeah, I'm sharing this one for y'all. By the way, this is my book, The Question of Evil. Please buy it. We talk about the world systems that we talked about. We talk about my position regarding politics and the position politics plays in the world and the position that Christianity plays, and particularly why Christianity is so hated by the so-called secular humanists. And the secular humanists, I'm gonna say this. I'm not quite sure they're all secular humanists anymore. I'm not even quite sure that they're atheists anymore. I believe that's a way for them to play the game that they play. But I would honestly believe that within the side of people claiming to be secular humanists, claiming to be atheist, I believe that you got some people that are Satanists or other religions that are anti-Christ.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to name the religions because that's a different show. And I believe there are some people who claim to be atheists, they claim to be secular humanists, they use that platform as a means to push their true satanic antichrist positions, you know but they claim, oh, I'm just a secular humanist. No, you're not, you know but we'll talk about that later. And I'm just saying by the symbolisms, the things that they signify, have me wondering, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But
Oh, but on to Kamala.
mhm.
So I talk with my friends and be like, her race is not part of the policy and part of the issues, and I would agree. But then my other retort is, you know, how much, if so, is Trump's being a quote unquote felon an issue about policy? It's not. But that's the first thing she'll bring up. Okay. So stop with the bullshit. She clapped and he clapped back because there is some question about whether she even has any black ancestry in her.
Well, let's
Because
be
her
correct.
father, no, hold on, I'm coming with
Yeah,
facts.
yeah.
Her father does not, according to Judge Joe Brown, who met her father, did not identify as black. He identified as Indian. Okay. Irish
It's
Indian.
Indian.
Irish
Her
Indian.
dad.
He's from Jamaica, but because Jamaica is not a race, it's a country. Okay.
Yeah,
And
we
there's
know
white
that.
Jamaicans, there's
Right.
black Jamaicans, there's Indian Jamaicans. And you look on her birth certificate, her mother's listed as Caucasian, her father's listed as Jamaican. Well, what the fuck does that mean?
Well, we know her mom is from India, so we already know what that is.
Yeah, and
So that's
he's
not.
Indian too. Her
Oh,
father's
see, I don't
Indian
know
and
much.
white.
Oh, I
So to
didn't know that.
question her, so here's why questioning her blackness becomes a character issue. Because if we're gonna mention Trump being a felon, which is a character issue, why are you claiming you something you're not?
Well, I think that both of those things are irrelevant. But I'm
No,
going to
no,
say
no,
this.
no. And then why you keep bringing up Trump
Here's
being a
my
felon?
but. Here's my but. Okay, I don't think it matters. To me, it doesn't matter that Trump's a felon because it doesn't matter to me. All right, it doesn't. And now you done got me in a conversation I didn't want to have today.
You
But
gonna have it.
why it doesn't matter? Here's my thing. First of all, I think that Alvin Bragg and them had a fake, ridiculous. This is the dude that prosecuted Kane the Conqueror. So I already ain't feeling homie. He prosecuted Kane the Conqueror, found Kane the Conqueror guilty of running from a white woman, that he took her phone and jammed her finger by taking the phone that she was fighting with him with. She chased it down the street. He trying to get away from her, and he found him guilty of that. That to me just showed what type of extremist left-wing person he was, pandering to a certain demographic. So I didn't respect the prosecutor. With them going after Trump for what they went after him for, it should have been a misdemeanor. They made it a felony to try. And my thing is this. Come on. All right. It just, to me, it was just a waste of time, a waste of taxpayer money. It didn't. So I don't even care about that. What I care about is when I hear Kamala Harris and Donald Trump debate, I want to hear what they're going to do for the American people. And then I want Kamala to tell us why she hasn't done it so far. Because if she's saying she's doing something different, then why haven't you done it? I heard her talking about lowering prices. Like I said, this is a 4-quarter play. All right. For the first 3 quarters, prices have been going up and you ain't said nothing. But now all of a sudden you're saying day one, you're going to lower prices. Why? How? You haven't done it now. So I need for you to tell me how you're going to do the promises that you're giving. And I need to hear what you're actually saying policy-wise, bro. Now, as far as her being black, I'm going to say this, bro. All right. When she ran before, that question came up. And it was black people, the same black people that are acting like they don't remember saying this stuff, that were talking about her not being black. And what I mean by not being black mean not an African American. Okay. Not claiming an African American. You guys know there's people out there that are mixed that claim to be mixed. They don't claim to be black. All right. There's mixed people who claim to be black. And there are people that come from the Caribbean that actually claim to be black. But at the end of the day, her father was not a black American, and her mother clearly was not a black American. So that's what people were, the ADOS, the FBAs, they were talking about this way back then. All right. And a lot of black people felt that way. All right. So now that she's in a Divine Nine, she went to the HBCU. People say she identifies as black because of all that. That's fine. You know, but we also know you can be a white person and go to the HBCU and be in the Divine Nine.
Right.
Yeah, I know some white Kappas. I know some white Alphas. All right. I know some white AKAs, you know, so this is true. Am I wrong?
No,
Tell me I'm wrong, Jonathan.
You're not
all right.
wrong.
So the thing, and I know white people who I've known white people go to historically black colleges who get the United Negro College Fund because they go to one, because that's how you get the United Negro College Fund when you go to a historically black college, no matter what color you are. That is something to support historically black colleges, not black students. You can't go to University of Illinois, University of Michigan, and get the United Negro College Fund. Don't work that way, you know. Right. Anyway, so that's my thing. So, you know, I understand why people are questioning her blackness. All right, and that's why Trump is. So Trump didn't just pull this out his butt. All right, this is a conversation that had been being had
out there.
Yeah,
and it's very questionable.
I'm not gonna, like I said, I can't speak intelligently to a birth certificate. I haven't seen it, but you and I both agree that this has been a conversation because of the fact that her father is a Jamaican, her mom is from India. And I don't know how her father, I don't ever see her father. I don't know what he identifies as. I don't even know what he looks like.
And the only thing that people may think that he looks black at his hair is slightly coarse. But swarthy people have coarse hair and they're not black.
Okay. What people?
Swarthy.
That's what, because I don't know about that culture. You got to explain that to me.
Swarthy is just a certain type of look. You have some Middle Easterns who look swarthy, who could be very light skinned, looking like black people and coarse hair, but they're not black at all. Especially if you're talking about Indians. Most Indians are dark. Okay,
we do know
they're not black, but they're dark like me.
Yeah, there's some that are darker than
exactly, but they're not black. You understand?
Right.
So there's some question that ultimately it does come down to policy. But when you talk, so here's why she's black right now. She's black for you niggas, because you know you niggas is gonna eat that shit up. That's why she's black, because when she went into the Senate, the headline when she went into the Senate, the headline read first Asian American. Okay, and she has every right, if she's black and Asian, to pick which one she wants to be at what time. I ain't got no problem with that. But we don't have any concrete evidence that you have an ounce of being black in you. We don't have any evidence of your dad identified as Asian or Indian American. Okay, so she's black now to satisfy you niggas, so you niggas will vote for her. That's the reality of it. Okay, and let's just keep it 100 and keep it real. And she's a quote unquote black woman, and the only reason y'all like her, there's only two reasons why people are vote for Kamala Harris. They don't like Trump, and she's black. She's a black woman. That's it. She has no record of policy.
Well,
you
that's
can say
the problem.
The borders are, she did terrible, but that's all.
That's the problem. And this is the problem I had on my page, man. You saw the conversation I had. Now, real talk. I voted for Obama twice, Hillary once, and Biden Harris last time. Clearly, okay, I admit it. Now, that being said, when I ask, okay, now that this woman is now the nominee for the Democratic Party, the presumptive nominee at this point, tell me what policy she's going to bring. I don't want to hear that she's not Trump. I don't want to hear that she's an HBCU grad. I don't want to hear that she's in the Divine Nine. I don't want to hear that she's a black woman. I don't want to hear that she'll be the first black female president, or the first Asian female president, or the first female president, and it's time for that. None of that is relevant to me. I want to know, what is she going to do for the American working class? And when she tells me what it is, I want to know, why didn't you do this while you have been in office the last 3.5 years? That's my questions for Kamala Harris. And when I ask these questions, I got morons acting like I'm endorsing Trump because I said that. I'm endorsing Trump because I'm asking why are we voting for this person? I don't get that. Yeah. Now I can see if I'm out here, hey, Trump is going to do this. I'm pumping Trump. Or what I'm saying is, because obviously, and I did vote in the Republican primary. I did not vote for Donald Trump for the Republican primary. Okay, that is simple as that. I did not want him to be the candidate. He is the candidate. So now the choice I have is between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. And I'm saying it's going to take a little more for me to vote for Harris. Not that I'm going to vote for Trump. Hell, I might vote for RFK. I might vote for Jill Stein. I might write my damn name in. All right. What I need to know, though, for those who are trying to tell me, it's what they say. One of my homies said, vote blue no matter who. No, I don't do that. All right, whoever it is on the blue side, need to tell me exactly what it is, because I'm not happy with seeing some of the policies in Democratic cities I'm seeing, and I have no reason to believe that I'm not happy with what the federal government has been doing in a lot of cases. So I need to know, okay, what are you going to do different? And when you ask this question, people lose their damn minds.
You lose their mind. The first thing they want to talk about is, well, he ain't done Donald Trump or this, other this, because they don't know, because he hasn't really clearly came out and stated anything. Not too concretely, when you look at her rally speeches, they're all the same. She literally is saying the same thing in every rally, which I don't necessarily have an issue with, but it's not substantive. She's not really saying anything. So the debate, I think, is really going to be pivotal for both of them. Either Trump is going to win based on the debate, or she's going to gain momentum based on the debate. Once you get past him being a felon, because she's going to push that shit. Right.
I don't care about that. Like I said, none of that matters.
He's gonna push, and he's gonna push the question of her race. Once we get past that, then
once you get past them playing the dozens, what you gonna do? I don't hear about what they not doing. I don't hear what you gonna do. All right, that's my thing. And that is the question you should ask every politician that you are considering voting for. What are you gonna do for me? What are you gonna do for my family? What are you gonna do for my community? What are you gonna do for my country? That's what I need to know. As simple as that. And the fact that people are getting their feelings because I'm like, damn, y'all act like I can't stand ignorant, low intellect people. And what I mean by ignorant, low intellect people, I don't care how many degrees you have or don't have, but if you a moron sitting here telling me that I got to vote for Kamala simply because I don't care who you're talking about. Look at what's it, Brandon Johnson in Chicago. When Brandon Johnson, when he was running against another Democrat, Paul Vallis, all right? And my thing is this. We talked about why I talked about said, hey, look, I don't think that your boy is going to be a good choice for president. I mean, for mayor. I said, hey, I think that we should go ahead and people in Chicago, and I don't vote in Chicago because I don't live in the city, but Chicago politics is very important to the region. So I have to have, I say something. I say, man, vote for Vallis. No, we voting for the black person. All right. Between two Democrats. All right. So it wasn't even a Republican and a Democrat, it's two Democrats. And we're going to vote for this dude just because he's black. And all he's doing is giving money away to migrants. He ain't doing nothing for the hood. We got shot towers up in the hood that, registered for gunshot is fired. Okay. Police can respond quicker. Right. He wants to take them down because he feels as racist. Because, black people getting arrested, police show up, black people getting arrested in a black neighborhood. You know when he going to take them down? After the Democratic National Convention. So as long as it's safe for these white folks to come and do their convention, he don't care what happened in the hood. All right. And that's what I'm talking about, bro. I don't care. Again, vote for the person that's going to do something for you. That's all I'm saying. All right. Going to bring, but in Chicago has voted Democrat for the last, 60 years. And the only thing they got, worse schools.
Same Detroit.
Worse access to mental health services, worse access to health services, worse infrastructure. Education is horrible. All right. So it's like you keep doing the same thing, expecting a different outcome. I don't understand. That's called Detroit. That's called insanity.
Democrats. Oh, the Democrats, the Republicans ain't gonna do nothing. And they this and they that. Okay, well, look at what we've been doing Democratic forever, man. And look at the state of the city. Everything, the city of Detroit is all black everything, bro. Up until we got a white mayor just recently. But before that, everything was ran black and Democratic. Everything was black. Everything. Every city council, school board, mayor, everything, everybody would commissioner, everybody was black. Sheriff, the county sheriff, everything was black. What's the excuse? It's Democratic now. What?
Yeah,
we ain't doing nothing.
Yeah. Well, it's just the wrong people you're voting for. It's not you voting for. They're like you talk about this man Harper Hill, right? I looked him up. Hill Harper. I looked him up, and I'm familiar with him. I'm familiar. I read one of his books.
All the niggas know him now. All niggas know.
Yeah. And but I mean, this kid, and I say kid because I'm slightly older than him. What? Oh,
he's an Obama plant for sure. He's an Obama.
Take that back. He's older than me, bro. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad. I did not know that. I always thought he was a younger guy. Younger than me. He's actually
an Obama plant. He's Obama's age.
Well, yeah, and he went to Brown. He's a Harvard grad.
Obama were roommates or something.
This guy is a Harvard grad with a Master of Public Administration and a Juris Doctorate. And he didn't. What happened up in Detroit to this kid? Guy.
Let me tell you what the fuck happened. You niggas was so mesmerized by Kamala Harris that you forgot there was a primary to get this black man. Because if you about black people and black men and black people being in government, he was at everything black for a year. I learned about he was running back a year ago, okay? So he was pounding the pavement at all the black events, all the black everything, picnics, bar mitzvahs, goddamn divorce parties. This nigga, I saw Hill every goddamn way, okay? You understand what I'm saying to you? The barbecue.
I'm looking at.
He was at everything, trying to get you niggas to vote for him. And you didn't turn, this how it is, Rich. Niggas just didn't turn out to vote. They didn't come out to vote. The primary, they just didn't vote.
Wow, man. I'm sorry. I'm just reading about this whole thing. You should give me some head up on this. We're gonna talk about this again, man. Because
listen,
all right,
I'm passionate about it because don't tell me we don't see. Listen, hold on. Let me come on. Let me take my time. And I got about 10 minutes, but let me take my time. Kamala Harris was a DEI hire. Okay. Because Joe said he was gonna get a woman. He was a fucking get the fuck out of here.
He
He was a fucking DEI hire. Everybody knows it. But my point in saying that is you had an opportunity to have a hire of a person who looked like us without it being a DEI hire, without him, we could vote him in, right? So he's not a DEI hire at that point. We vote him in at our own will, will and volition to get this man in there. And you niggas in Detroit sat on your black asses, went to the bars, and went home and had your fucking barbecue and shit, and you didn't get out and you didn't vote for this man. It was another white woman he was up against who I hadn't heard of until I even got to the voting booth. Okay, so you can make a case that maybe Hill didn't expand his campaign beyond Detroit or niggas, which he probably should because niggas don't vote. Okay.
Okay, let me ask you a question though. What policies was this guy actually for?
It doesn't matter, Rich.
Yeah, well, that does matter.
No, here's why it doesn't matter. Because it doesn't matter about Kamala's policies either.
I hear what you're saying.
It doesn't matter. This is
marketing. It doesn't matter to the general electorate.
No, it doesn't. Niggas wanted black people. You had an opportunity to get somebody in there who wasn't a DEI hire, and you guys sat on your fat asses, and then you didn't get out in the primary, and you didn't fucking vote. So you're fake black woke people. Who you're fake. You don't care about black people being in power. You don't. Because if you did, you would have got off your fat black asses and you would have got on the Vibe primary and you would have voted. All he needed was Detroit to vote. Out of the entire state, Richard, all Detroit had to do was vote. And he would have, Detroit alone can elect anybody in the state for anything. All Detroit has to do is vote. That's it.
All right, man. Well, we are about to end this one because
we're
over an hour.
Because you're gonna start me all over again, but
I'm gonna say this. Yeah, next time we got to do a PG show, cuz
I don't know if I can do PG. When it comes to y'all, I don't know. All right, man. And here's my last word for the good of the order. I hope Trump gets in there and busts y'all niggas' heads.
Well, here's the thing now. All right,
because you have not learned yet that if you want to be heard, get your black asses up off your motherfucking couches and quit watching Netflix and go and fucking vote. So I hope Trump comes in there and busts your heads wide open to the white meat. And that's what I want him to do. Bust your head to the white meat because you don't learn. You don't understand. You get fed something blue and you think it's true. But you don't get out and vote. You really don't. And so the Democratic Party knows that 90% of Negroes that do vote, the ones that do vote, are going to vote Democratic. So guess what they don't have to do? They don't have to do shit for you because they got you by the balls. And they know you're going to vote for them. The Republicans ain't going to do shit because guess what? They know you're not going to vote for them. So nobody has anything to do with your vote as a black person. Our vote as black people has absolutely no power.
As a constituency, as a group,
no power.
But, when we move out of anything, when we move out of those cities and move into other communities and actually vote what's best for our communities, we do very well as individuals. And I think, honestly, I'm going to say this last thing I'm going to say. I think black folks need to, en masse, leave those large cities and move around the country.
Oh, they already leave Detroit. Nobody wants to live there.
Well, I'm saying stop listening to people tell you that racism is waiting for you wherever you go. Racism is wherever you at. There's going to be racist. All right. But for the most part, when you move to communities, you become part of communities, and it is what it is. And I say we should move around, leave these cities, leave Chicago, leave Detroit, leave Philly, leave Baltimore, and move around the country to places where we have better economic opportunity, better education options. And we ain't got to move like, a whole bunch of us move together and start a whole new project in the suburbs or something. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about simply moving around, moving to communities that are better for your family. All right. We ain't got to move and stick up on each other no more. We used to have to stick together for general safety. That kind of has passed. It's time for us to start spreading around, moving around, becoming part of communities that share our values. If those values are liberal, progressive values, then stay in liberal, progressive areas. If those values are conservative values, move to more conservative areas where people think like you and you can do your local policy to benefit you, your children, your community. But I will say this, Jonathan, in inner city communities, particularly, there's a big single parent issue, single moms, particularly. I agree with you. That's something that needs to be addressed. It's something we need to deal with. I think you and I need to have a conversation about that, this week sometime. Let me know what day you're free. And we need to talk about the culture and what we feel as Black men needs to change in order for it to get better.
Mhm.
All right. That being said, I'm out. I'll holler at you, Jonathan. Don't party too hard. Until then, peace.